Today marks the one-year anniversary of the start of the so-called Arab Spring. A year ago, a frustrated street vendor lit himself on fire to protest a corrupt and oppressive regime in Tunisia. His suicide inspired democratic uprisings right across North Africa and the Middle East. Our foreign editor Stuart Greer looks back on an extraordinary year of change and explains why some fear the Arab Spring could turn into an Arab winter.
It all began in Tunisia, literally sparked by the outrage of a street vendor whose vegetable cart was seized by police. 26-year-old Mohamed Bouazizi set himself on fire to protest a heavy-handed regime. He eventually died from his horrible burns and never saw the incredible change he unleashed. But President Ben Ali, who visited him in hopes of quelling the protests, certainly did.
We want him out! Just get out!
A month later, Ben Ali was gone, fleeing to Saudi Arabia. Suddenly, dictators who ruled for decades could be toppled. The yearning for freedom and democracy, fueled by blogs and social media, swept across the Arab world. Massive protests toppled Egypt's Hosni Mubarak, who's now on trial. Libya's Muammar Gaddafi was killed by opposition forces who had waged a rebellion with the help of NATO. Elections have been held in Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt, with Islamist parties all coming out on top. That worries many, but it doesn't necessarily mean the old dictatorships will be replaced by religious ones.
We have so many different streams of Islamist parties, and for example, what the Nahda, the party which won in Tunisia, it seems it's quite moderate.
For now, the West is taking a wait-and-see approach.
Democracy is a process. It's not just one election. It's election after election, and the parties that are elected will have to deliver services to the people.
Political Islam is one thing, terrorism is another. And that's why Yemen's a worry. It's home to Al-Qaeda's most lethal franchise. With the country's president also gone and the government disintegrating, there is fear the terrorist group will exploit the chaos to plot fresh attacks on the West.
The threat posed by Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is metastasizing and to some extent getting worse.
Meanwhile, the brutal crackdown in Syria is pushing the country into civil war. That threatens to destabilize the region. There may be a chill of an Arab winter, but like the seasons, revolutions move in cycles.
You cannot show one of those dictators and then the next day you will have a Canadian democracy. It is not easy. It's a process.
A process that millions in the Arab world are still committed to and ready to die for. Stuart Greer, Global News.